Chapter 25. Everything comes out right. After a good rest, the 6 woodpeckers set to work again at the hole they had made. Went their strong beats, drumming away at the wood. Everyone watched to see the hole getting bigger and bigger. Then a voice floated up, singing a mournful song. 2 kettles for Silky, 2 saucepans for me, 2 dishes for Moonface, we're as sad as can be. That's old Saucepan Man, said Joe in delight. Did you hear his silly song? That's to tell us where they all are. Move aside a bit, woodpeckers, and let me call them. The woodpeckers made room for Joe by the hole. He stuck his head through it and yelled loudly, Silky, Moonface, Saucepan, we're going to rescue you. We'll pull you through a hole we've made in the back of the Angry Pixie's house. There was a squeal of delight from Silky, a shout from Moonface, and a clatter of pans from Saucepan. We're coming, yelled Moonface. We've got a rope. Come up by. We shan't be long. Is the hole big enough for us to squeeze through? Not yet, shouted Joe. The woodpeckers are just going to start work on it again, and they'll soon have it bigger. Brrr, brrr, went the woodpecker's strong beats, and the hole grew larger and larger. At last it really was big enough for anyone to get through. Joe leaned through it, his torch shining into the slippery slip. He saw a light gleaming in the little way down and noticed a rope shaking nearby, as if someone was holding on to it. They're coming, he said to the others. They've got some light of some sort too. Oh, it's a candle. I can see Moonface now. He's the first, and he's helping the others up. They'll soon be here. I can see old Saucepan Man is behind. Angry Pixie put on a kettle of boiling water so that it was ready to make some hot chocolate or something when they came out. And have you got anything to eat? I've got pop cakes and Google buns, said the Angry Pixie, looking into the tin. They'll like those. Moonface at last hauled himself right up to the hole. His round face looked white and rather worried, but he gave Joe a grin as usual. Help Silky through first, he said. Joe and Rick pulled Silky through the hole. She looked pale too, but how glad she was to see all her friends, and she flung her arms round Beth and Frannie, and they all cried tears of joy down to one another. Then Moonface squeezed through the hole, and at last all of them, Saucepan Man and everyone, had managed to get him through by taking a few pans off before they could get him through the hole. We never thought we'd get rescued, they said. We'd quite given up hope. We keep knocking and banging and hoping someone would hear us, said Moonface. Yes, we did hear you, said Joe. That's what made us think you might be trapped in the slippery slip. But Moonface, how did you get in there? What happened? Wait a minute. Let them have something to eat and drink first, what's his name said. They must be terribly hungry, not having had anything to eat and drink for so long. Oh, we had plenty, said Moonface. We didn't starve. But I'll tell you all about it. Everyone settled down to hear his story. You see, one morning this week, Silky, Saucepan and I were sitting up in my house talking, began Moonface, and suddenly we saw 2 people from the land of Tempers looking at us. Sir Stamperlot and Lady Yellowround, said Joe. We know them. Well, they looked very fiercely at us, said Moonface, and they told us that they wanted to leave the land of Tempers because the headman was very angry with them about something. I think they'd broken his windows in temper. Well, they had escaped and they meant to live in the Faraway Tree. They had found out by accident that their land was over it, you see. And they wanted your house, cried Rick. Yes, said Moonface. They had all been sleeping down in the tree and seen that Silky's house was empty because Silky was up here with me and had taken that for themselves. At least Yellowround meant to have it for herself and Stamperlot meant to have mine. And they said they had stopped up the trapdoor at the bottom, said Silky, and they meant to push us down the slippery slip and then stop up the hole at Moonface's room so that we would be prisoners in the slide forever. Well, you can guess how frightened we were, said Moonface. Old Saucepan heard it all because Sir Stamp-a-Lot shouted so loudly, and the clever old thing began to stuff his kettles and saucepans with food from my larder, and some candles too, and matches and a rope. I couldn't think what he was doing. So, of course, when we were pushed into the slippery slip, we had plenty of food, said Saucepan, putting her arm around everybody. Silky hugged them. All because Saucepan is so clever, she said. He managed to tie the rope round onto something so that we had to climb up and down on it if we wanted to, said Moonface. And we found a little sort of cubbyhole halfway down where we could sit and eat and drink. We lit a candle, and then Silky thought of knocking and banging somewhere near to the Angry Pixie's house, just in case you might be there and hear it. Oh, we were worried about you, said Joe. We had simply didn't know what to do. I'm so glad we thought of woodpeckers. So you're really not very hungry or thirsty at all? No, not very, Moonface said. But some of the cake we bought got rather stale. Woodpeckers, would you like it? It was a treat for the woodpeckers, and they pecked up the stale cake eagerly before they flew off. They had been very pleased to help. And now, what are we going to do about turning Stamp-a-Lot and Yellow-Round out of our house and getting our own house back, said Silky. We can't all live with the Angry Pixie. His house is too small. Just as she said that, there came a sound of shouting and yelling some way up the tree. Everyone listened. That's Yellow-Round, I'm sure, said Silky. Let's go and see what's happening. Well, quite a lot was happening. About 8 people from the Land of Tempers, with their head man leading them, had come down the tree to capture Stamp-a-Lot and Yellow-Round. The head man had remembered what Frannie had said and had come to find the 2 people who escaped. They had easily found Stamp-a-Lot, for he was sleeping in Moonface's house, which was not far below the ladder leading to the Land of Tempers. But Yellow-Round was not being so easily captured. She had seen the headman climbing down the tree and had tried to escape. She had fallen and had hung 1 foot from the branch, yelling and squealing because she was afraid of falling, and the headman picked her up by the foot and was dragging her up the tree like that. Everyone watched in silence. Yellow-Round was squealing loudly in terrible rage, but nobody took any notice. I won't go back to the Land of Tempers, she said. I won't. But she had to. Up the ladder she was carried, upside down, and Stamp-a-Lot was pushed up too. Serves them right, said Moonface, taking our houses from us and trapping us in the slippery slip like that. They all went up. Moonface was sad to see his house so untidy and so many of his things broken. Everyone helped him to put it right. Then they all looked at the stuffed-up slippery slip. The spell put on it will be gone now that those 2 horrible people have gone. We can pull everything out. So it wasn't long before the hole was free of all the things that were stuffed up it. Moonface shook out his cushions and grinned at the children. Well, everything's all right again, he said. I'm so happy. It's lovely to have good friends like you. We better go home now, said Joe. We've been away a long time. We can't go down the slippery slip because it's all stuffed at the bottom, said Frannie. Well, I'll send a message down to the red squirrel to clear it, said Moonface. He whistled to a sparrow sitting on a nearby branch. Hey, little brown bird! Fly down to the red squirrel and tell him to open the trapdoor at the bottom of the tree and clear the slide there, will you? He asked. Tell him to do it at once. The sparrow flew off. Moonface handed round a tin of toffee shocks and everyone took one. Just time to have one whilst the squirrel was clearing out the mess. He said, Hark! I can hear the Land of Tempers moving off. Sure enough, there came a noise of a lamb moving away, the curious creaking and groaning noise that all strange lands made when they went. What land will come next, I wonder, said Joe. I know what it will be, said what's-his-name. I heard the headman of the Land of Tempers say that the Land of Presents was due tomorrow. Said Moonface, his eyes shining. We must all go to that. The land of presents, that's a marvellous land. We can all go and get as many presents as we like, just as if it's our birthday. Come tomorrow, will you? We'll all go. I can get some new carpets and things. Stamp-a-lot spoilt so many of my belongings. We'll come, said Joe, as he slid down the slippery slip on a yellow cushion. We'll come, rather, all of us.